I'll let these amazing founders introduce themselves, but I'm Alex. I'm your moderator of this evening, and I'm super excited to be speaking about Israeli product fit in the US. Eyal, I'll start with you.
Thank you. I'm Eyal. I'm Austin resident for the last year and a half. That's the most interesting fact. Prior to that, Bay Area, one of the refugees from the Bay Area.
I'm jealous.
Soon, בקרוב אצלך. And before that, Israel. So yeah, I think the relevant aspect to this forum would be we started a company, my previous company, we started in Israel, and we knew we are targeting only the US market. And after a year or so, some of us moved to the US, where we kept most of the R&D in Israel. And just recently, a year ago, started a new company.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hi. This is loud. My name is Doron. I'm the founder and now president of a company called StreamElements. We build a platform for video content creators, mostly in the gaming space, so people who play League of Legends and Fortnite and make a living from it. We're integrated with Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. We have 1.4 million active content creators that use our platform every month. I'm also a podcaster. It's an Israeli podcast, so unless you're Israeli, you're not gonna be able to listen to it. It's called Geekonomy. And a couple of weeks ago, there was like this announcement in Israel on Best Podcast of the Year. And we won in the interview category. So now I'm an award-winning podcaster, which makes no difference to you whatsoever.
It's a 2-hour podcast, so I hope you have a lot of time.
We just rant. Also an Austin resident, moved here from the Bay Area a year and a half ago, and loving it.
Ornit, Maizel, co-founder and CTO of Sunbit, also an Austin resident. At Sunbit, we build a financial technology for what we call real life. Similarly to buy now, pay later, or Tashlumim in Israel, we allow customers to split their purchase into multiple payments for services that they need on their everyday. So when you go to the dentist or when you go to fix your car at the dealership, we allow to split the purchase into payments. We also have the next generation of credit card, no fees, with an app that allows splitting every purchase into multiple payment, 3, 6, or 12 payment, just like in Israel with your credit card. We're located in over 17,000 merchants in the US, over 1 million transactions today, and the headquarters are here in the US while the R&D center is in Israel.
Incredible. I feel like an outsider. I'm not from Austin. I live in San Francisco. A bit of context. I worked in enterprise tech at Nike and Apple, and all of our innovation centers were in Israel. So I have the opposite experience where I brought American tech into Israel. I would love to know your experience about bringing Israeli tech into the US. What were your barriers? What was fun about it? Any challenges? Eyal, since you brought up your relevant experience and you're sitting right next to me, I'm going to pick on you first.
Great. So I think it varies by the company and the product. And I think there's also more of a, let's call it secular trend when it comes to, we talked about it a little bit before. It used to be a lot of hard tech technology developed in Israel, usually around microprocessors, chips, and like real technology. That was basically manufactured in Israel, but it was just another cost or R&D center for the larger, Intels of the world. And then there was like a progression into databases. And recently you see much more product-oriented companies that shifting to Israeli product-oriented companies that are targeting the US market. So we started my previous company around 2013, and our target was the US market. We focused on a very unique problem to US small businesses, which is the time it takes for a small business, especially B2B small business, to get paid from another business. Which, if any of you have a small business, US or not, it's a big problem. Just the time it takes to get paid on the invoice. So we developed technologies that allow one business to get paid from another business. Back then it was innovative. Today there are like probably 200 companies that are doing that. But the other aspect that we added is an option to get credit. So let's say you didn't get paid on your invoice, but you really need that invoice to get paid. We would provide that money for you, and you would pay us later once you got the invoice. And we make some kind of a profit on that credit element, the risk element. So that was very US specific, and there were many regulatory legal questions, product questions, payments rail questions that are not relevant to Israel, but are very unique to the US.
How many more regulations did you have to deal with while building here?
We had 56 regulators.
Crazy.
And
How many in Israel?
One or two.
Did you know them? Go to high school with them?
Fortunately not. Yeah.
Doron, what about you?
So StreamElements is a company that actually grew with the platform. So we were all gamers and nerds before we even started it. And because of that, we started building the initial product offering with video gaming creators in mind right off the bat. So the product was in immediate demand by global creators. When I moved to the US, it was mostly because we wanted to start developing revenue. So it was no longer about getting creators to use it, but how do we make money, and making money was necessarily either from audiences or brands. When I moved to the Bay Area and I started recruiting our US team, the first person I recruited was a CRO. And I remember him telling me, we had multiple conversations, and then he came back in the last one and he said, you know, I consulted, he was a gay man, he was living, he was married, and I consulted with my husband, and he said that, you know, those Israelis, they know how to make money, so I'm probably going to join your company. So there was a very positive sentiment towards us, and that helped us, you know, just kickstart our business operations here. We didn't have any regulators. We did enjoy tremendously from the connection to other Israelis. So we found the Israelis at YouTube, at Facebook, at Twitch, and connecting through them to the organization was much more impactful than any other company could imagine.
Were they more like open into helping you and seeing you succeed?
Yes, it's it's not allowed to say, but it's sort of like an Israeli mafia, but we can't use that word anymore, it's offensive. But
which one, Israeli or mafia?
The second one.
I'm pretty sure both in the Bay Area
But
would put you into jail.
But there is a sense of connection. The Israelis, no matter where they are in the American corporations, and there are Israelis in all American corporations, they want to help Israelis plug in ways that I think, you know, somebody from Germany would not necessarily help a German entrepreneur plug into that organization.
Do you think that's a cultural
Yes,
aspect?
absolutely. I think there's a shutfut goral, a partnership of fate, that every time it's like I told my son, who was bar mitzvah last year, that when you meet another Jewish person, it's like a secret handshake. There's an immediate set of references and backgrounds and histories and narratives that you both share, and if you both did bar mitzvah, that was my pitch to him why he should do his bar mitzvah. If you do your bar mitzvah, you get more of that because you can do the blessings and everything. So Israelis helped a lot along the way, and the product fit was immediate because it was pre-built with gaming culture in mind.
Incredible. Ornit, I know you dealt with a lot of regulators, so I can't wait to hear.
Yeah, so I guess that for us, it was pretty clear from the early days, I mean, before we even started, that while the tech should be in Israel because there's a lot of talents, and especially around data, AI, machine learning, and data technology in general, and a lot of innovation, technology innovation that comes from there, it was clear that the business side must be here, because it's not enough just to build a 10x product with innovative technology behind it. It also has to be kosher from regulation perspective, and it has to be viable from financial perspective. And therefore, from day one, we had the technology center in Israel and the business side, the compliance and the finance, and of course, like always, sales and marketing was all here. I believe that that was the right thing for us to build a lending product, to build disruptive innovation in fintech in general requires very strong technology on one end, but also find the ways to disrupt the financial market in a way that you can also project what would happen next, where would the regulation go, what would be the right path to take. How do we do that in in a way that can really disrupt the big institutions? So it was pretty clear that we take both sides of the story. We started with 2 founders in Israel, 2 founders here in the US, and grew on both sides of the ocean.
Incredible. So on this topic, and this topic's around go-to-market and go-to-market strategy, I know previously we talked about how Israeli product was more hard tech. Have you seen that transition into more product-led tech in GDM and growing from Israel into the US or into any other global economy? You can go. Anyone can go. It's open.
So I think the short answer is yes. So there was, in the evolution of Israeli tech, there was, I don't know if it's people aware, but there was a lot of online gambling companies, mostly based out of the UK, where it was large enough market.
Gibraltar.
Well, technically Gibraltar, but effectively the UK. One of the byproduct of that is that the online acquisition expertise that was developed in Israel was arguably second to none. So Israelis were really good at online acquisitions, and they started, like, it was a whole alumni network that was distributed across other companies. But we being Israelis, not Texans, we brought the know-how of online acquisition to other type of companies. And there was a long time that what was the name of those companies, like 888 and those online gaming companies, alumni became very hot commodity because they were really good at online acquisition. And you can do that acquisition out of Israel, Gibraltar, or the US itself. So it helped to scale a lot of acquisition and marketing and products. And then I think the product-led growth is not unique to Israel, but it
became had to be adopted.
Pretty much, yeah. Whatever works.
I actually experienced something slightly different. The best product managers that we had in the company, that we have in the company, are not from Israel.
I'm going to include myself in that as a non-biased, but I'm kidding.
Okay. When I just moved to the US and I got an investment from my first Silicon Valley investor, he told me that Israel is good in many things, but product culture is not one of them, which I found quite offensive, but then I discovered that he's right. I was like, what are you talking about? I've been building products all my life. Okay. There's a certain lack of empathy and a certain sort of mindset where I'm going to tell you what product you need, as opposed to I'm going to listen to what product you need.
Wait, Israelis listen? Especially
no.
to other opinions?
The American product managers listen. The Israelis tell you what you need. And I think infusing the organization with American team members really helped the company develop that empathy. And it dramatically improved our products, at least on the revenue side, because on the consumer side or on the creator side, it was okay to begin with. And also there's a weird thing when it comes to gaming content creators, because everything is video games to them. The fact that our product was cumbersome and it took 4 hours to set up was actually a unique selling point. So they don't want anything that you set up for 5 minutes and then it's done. They want something that you can set up for days and days and customize titles and features. That labor of love of building your channel is part of the appeal. So actually they suffered but enjoyed it at the same time.
It's the best type of enjoyment.
It's the best type. We loved it.
We're all masochists.
Yeah.
So we're probably right in the middle. Yes, I agree. our customers, our merchants and our customers are here in the US. And we believe that we need to be close to them, listen to them, feel them, in order to really understand their needs. And therefore, the business and some of our product team is here. But on the other end, there are a lot of challenges of having an R&D center in Israel, especially in the financial world or lending world, where the credit world, as we all know, is very different between the U.S. and Israel. Try to explain in Israeli how the U.S. credit history or credit score works, or how it feels to get declined when you come to the point of sale and you try to apply for a credit and you get declined at Macy's, or when you go to the dealership to buy a car. It's very, very different. And at the end of the day, if we want our products to be built correctly and for the Israeli team to be able to build it in the right way, we had to have product managers on both sides. So one side close to the business, the other side close to the technology, and this helps us a lot to bridge that distance and to build the best products for our customers and merchants at the end of the day.
I think the biggest shock working in enterprise and bringing it into the US was, I remember my ex-boss would ask me, why is everyone out Wednesday afternoon? What is happening Wednesday afternoon and Saturday? Like, people are coming back online Saturday, working on Sunday. Can you explain this to me? And I was like, oh my God, this is a whole different conversation.
What is going on Wednesday?
They took half the day off because their kids are off on Wednesday in some places in Israel, so they're going to pick up their kids.
Okay.
And they're like, why is no one working on a Wednesday? And explaining that to U.S. culture, it's religious, the kids, some things, it went over their head.
Okay.
Culturally, what was the biggest challenge, do you think, building something in the U.S. versus Israel? For me, it's the debate culture. Israelis always want to know why? And in the U.S., it's less of a pushback.
For me, the biggest thing was refusing to accept reality by Israelis. So we're in the media space, and in the media space there's an almost benchmark for the progress of a deal cycle. So if you start working with a brand, Nike or McDonald's or Coca-Cola, you would do a test budget. It would be low, $20,000, $50,000. The next deal might be $100 or $150. Only in the third or fourth year of your relationship with that brand, they will start deploying advertising dollars regularly with you. Israelis refuse to accept that as reality or as a normal business cycle, and they want it to grow 2x per year, 5x per year, and it's just unfortunate that Coca-Cola is not.
You mean you don't get a term sheet in day one?
It's not. It's still very hard for both my Israeli partners and investors to accept the fact that there are market realities and business cycles that are not connected to their expectations and are not conforming to their expectations.
I believe that one wholeheartedly. I've seen it firsthand.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that our challenge, as I said before, was mostly for the tech team to learn about the market and be able to really understand how things work in the credit market in the U.S. And it's a big challenge that from day one we invested to bridge that gap by what we call over-communication. So having business people flying to Israel to teach the team, and having the team from Israel coming here, and having all hands meetings, and having product team on both sides, and a lot of those things, we invest a lot. It's a challenge, it's rewarding, but we invest a lot to keep the team connected to the US. On the flip side, I have to say that it's very exciting for the team in Israel to be a part of a company that grow. So on one end, you have the technology, innovation, a lot of data, a lot of innovative technology that comes from Israel. On the other side of the ocean, we have the business team in a company that is in hyper growth. And it's very exciting for the team to be a part of this ride and to be connected to everything that happens on the other side of the ocean. So it was very, very important for us to keep over communication and over connection between both sides at all times.
Yeah, we did some of that. Yeah, a lot of, we have someone, ex-Funbox here. We did a lot of flying over people from San Francisco to Tel Aviv, from Tel Aviv to San Francisco. It was like...
It's a great 15-hour flight.
An air train of engineers and let's call it business people. I think the friction is usually because where the CEO is and where the talent for, let's call it business executive is, you hire the executives. And it feels like, oh, the production line of engineers sit in Tel Aviv and you guys make the decision in San Francisco, and we basically like a satellite office of, you know, blue-collar workers that make $300,000 a year. And that creates a lot of friction. But once you invest a lot of time on assimilating personalities, like people have a drink together, dinner, it's getting better, but it's always going to be there. And I don't know if it's location specific or just a good natural friction. Yeah.
So I know I just got the 5-minute warning, so I just wanted to open up to anyone here. Anyone have questions? Is everyone ready to get out of here? Ready for a drink, dinner, multiple drinks?
Both.
All the above. Anyone? Well, quiet crowd.
So maybe just one funny story about the cultural difference that you asked about. So our CFO not so long ago sent an email to the tech team for one of the products that we developed for accounting, saying, I suggest to do it differently. And nothing happened. And when we come to ask the team why nothing happens, their answer is like, it was a suggestion. It was not an order. So I guess that's a part of the differences that we meet and encounter every single day. And that's a part of the challenge. But also at the end of the day, I believe that it's very rewarding due to the talents that are in Israel. Thank you.
Of course. Anyone? Last time. If not, everyone subscribe to Doron's podcast. If everyone has 2 hours on their next flight, it's great. Would suggest.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.